Dr. Randy Bryant. I'm a chiropractor in Central Florida and been in practice for 27 years now, almost 28 years I've been in practice. I went to Life College up in Atlanta, Georgia.
You were part of the makeover mentorship for introverts before, and then you ended up coming back to work with us again in MLight, a container that really helps with getting further accelerated traction. So tell us a little bit about what was happening before you came back to work with us.
I'm taking a couple of programs through your organization there. In the interim times, we've had a lot of changes that have occurred in my profession, in the world, and what have you. And I had a business that was chugging along, doing all right, but I wanted to go to just a little bit different level. You know, I already was reasonably satisfied with where I was at, but there had to be a little something extra out there. So Jen finally said the right things that said, hey, let's go check out the MLight program and let's go do that, because it's something that would just be that extra nudge that I needed for my practice to step just up to a different level. And it was almost as if I was able to step back to a point where I was before kind of my feet got knocked out from underneath me with everything that had gone on. So that's what made me make that decision to go do that.
What's changed for you that you're excited about?
There are some procedures that we have put into place that, number one, are procedures that I hadn't thought of in the past that has just made my patient communication so much easier with that. And there were some other things that I had learned. My coach was real good about, I don't want to use the word pushing me, but was really good about encouraging me strongly to work and embrace the internet. And I will tell you right now, the projects that we worked on with that are probably the most significant growth factor in my office right now, because it makes it so much easier to grow the practice just by looking at the patient and asking a simple question. And it's just by asking that question, it's like the practice almost grows on its own. But there were some other things that we worked on too that brought me into the thought of office automation. And there were some things that we didn't realize we already had automated, but they were automated. And my coach worked with me on making those things a little bit smoother running in there also, and getting some of that automation running. And then there's other things too. Like I say, there was a couple of projects that we worked on, projects and things that has just made patient communication so much easier whenever you just hand them this piece of paper and it looks great.
Wonderful. And what was it like to have like templates and frameworks to work off of?
Templates and frameworks, that's almost like cheat sheets in college.
What would you say was your favorite part of the experience?
Probably one of the favorite parts of my experience is when, and I've got to tell you, this is something that happened in the office from a professional that comes in here that is in, I'm going to say professional coaching. It's what they do in larger corporations. And when I hung up my little poster that we had made, one of the infographics that we had made, when I hung that up, her next visit, she walks in, she's like, where did you get this from? She says, this is fantastic. She says, I love this. So it was kind of good for me, exciting to put something up on the wall that a patient walked in, that it's their business to help medium-sized corporations grow. And they said, this is a great tool that you have just hung up here on your wall. And I was like, to get that kind of information back from someone at that level, I realized it was a good move. So that was probably one of the most exciting things that I had happen.
Like very affirming, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And have these different projects you've worked on during MLight that we helped you with, how has that helped you with, like, how's that affected your practice?
Well, one of the things is that, you know, running a cash practice like I do in certain areas of my work, some people look at it, it's like, well, you know, it's harder to do this, but whenever they can look and walk away with a piece of paper that shows them a map of what I have done already, where we are headed on this thing and what the future might look like, some of the other ideas, to have that little roadmap that they walked away with. They come back and they're like, okay, when are we going to talk about this segment of my care, which is beyond where we are right now? They're already wanting to go to the next level of where we're looking at, which is the part of my practice that I haven't traditionally done a lot of promotion with. And so I've got patients that are, I was just asked about it today. Hey, when I get back from my trip up north, I want to talk to you about the nutrition stuff. So, and it's like to know that they're seeing this roadmap and wanting to take that next level or that next step.
That's exciting, right? Because what was it like before?
Oh, heck, I hardly ever promoted my nutritional something, work as a segment of my practice to promote, other than just somebody would complain about something. I would test something. Okay, you need to take this, which, moved a good bit of nutritional stuff through the office, but it wasn't very much of a focus. And it makes it so much easier for me to just say, hey, expect me to say something about this. And now they're looking forward to, hey, I want something. I want that part of it.
That's great, because it's something that you can really help them with and really help them make changes with too, that they didn't even realize was available to them. So
Exactly.
And so tell everybody a little bit about the different offerings that you have in your practice.
As far as offerings in my practice, I offer, obviously, we've already talked about the nutrition, but I do a lot of allergy work and I do a lot of light work, chiropractic also.
What are your fees within the practice?
My fees within the practice, I run pretty close to between $80 and $90 a visit on a standard. My initial visit runs about $200.
So how has the experience been different, or working with us? How has it been different from other types of business trainings or programs that you've been a part of in the past related to business?
One of the things that I've got to say that I really liked about the M-Light program is that my coach was able to kind of introduce me to some ideas of where do you need to be, where do you want to go in your practice, and introduce me to some ideas. And then when I was working on some of these projects, okay, what have you got worked on this week? And that's one of the things. And I mean, I learned stuff from other people who were in the group also. And well, what are you working on? Well, this is how I'm working on this and that and the other. And then sometimes you just put it up onto the screen for everybody to look at and say, hey, I think this would look better here. And the feedback I got from so many other people is something I've never had, because in other business growth programs that I've done over the last 27 years, you show up, okay, here's how you're going to do this. Well, it's like, I don't really resonate with that. Well, do it this way because it works. And that's one of the things I didn't get in the M-Light program, number one. And number two, I really liked the group interaction that we all had with each other. You can put more heads together and wind up with a good consensus, and all of a sudden 2 different ideas work for your need.
Love it. What's your vision for your practice that you're excited about?
My vision? Well, it was one of those things too. And I mean, obviously everybody's looking for business growth, or they wouldn't be taking business coaching. So obviously we're looking forward to doing that. But there are some places that I'm going to be taking some of the information that I learned out of M-Light, some of the information I've learned out of the other programs that I've taken too, and compiling that to actually starting. I'm going to start a second business within my business. Ultimately is what it's going to wind up being. I'm getting to the point in my life where there's going to come a time where I'm going to be tired of doing what I'm doing at the moment, padding up and down the table all day long, 10 hours a day. I still love what I do, but I don't ever want to be away from it. So information that I have learned, and even information that I learned in listening to other people grow through the M-Light program, I'm taking information that I pulled from there that's going to help me start a second business within my business that will be a great business that would carry me even into retirement and allow me to keep my hands in my profession that I love so much, but I can still do it virtually and hang out and, be on my sailboat somewhere and still work a little bit and keep my hands in what I love to do. So, be able to do 2 things that I like to do, be on the water and work.
Super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And what, if you knew then what you know now, what advice would you give?
When you first started talking to me about this, probably what, 3 years ago? Yeah, probably about 3 years ago. And if I'd have known then what I know now, I'd have jumped earlier. I'd have went in with it earlier and said, "Hey, let's move, let's take this and go forward with it," because it was something that I probably would have done a while back, because I'm an old dog learning new tricks. And so if I knew 3 years ago, I'd have probably, yeah, I'd have been in a long time before.
What do you feel would have happened if you hadn't taken this leap for yourself in this way?
Can I use an example that I used with my employee today,
Sure.
if that's okay? Walked up to the appointment book, and in everybody's appointment book, there's holes. And, I told her, I says, "Hey, look at all these spaces that we got." "Well, doc," and she said, "You can't make the telephone ring." And she's right, you can't. But I said, look at all these places, not as an empty spot that is there, as a place where we don't have work to do, but we have work, we have a place to help someone else. And, even there, to take some of the things and realize that growth is just as simple as looking at an appointment book and realizing I have an opportunity to help another person here in this place. It's not a hole in my appointment book where I'm not making money. It's a hole that I can put someone else to help in that place. And it was just a little bit of a mind shift that I helped. It was just what I learned in that, and realized by some of the things that I am implementing from what we've learned, it's no more difficult than that to really grow the practice. It's not a difficult thing to grow. Yes, to me, the most difficult thing to do is get somebody sitting in a lecture. Getting them there is hard for me to do. Doing the lecture is fine. I love doing community talks, but getting people in to listen to them is the hard part. But that grows my business and grows it great when I do that and everything. But it's still as simple as just looking at a simple thing and having a mindset about it, and a different mindset. And, simple little things, and to hear other people say, "Oh, this helped me," and being able to apply that, it's been a great benefit to observe that happen in other people's lives.
Awesome. And what would you say to someone who may be on the fence?
You're going to fall one way or the other. You may as well fall on the right side.
I love that.
That's, like I say, if a person's on the fence of it, you're going to spend the money one way or the other. You're either going to spend it, hitting the sidewalk, trying to get people coming in from that, or you can spend it and learn some skills, and even some, I don't want to use the word techniques, but skills and tools that can keep you off that sidewalk, and you can build from right within the office with almost zero effort.
Well, thank you so much for being here today and for being such an inspiration. So congratulations for the practice growing. And I'm excited about you bringing in more nutrition, making it available to your patients and helping your patients that way more too. And I'm excited that your income's gone up too. So to continue new beginnings. So for those of you who are in a place where you might feel like your practice is at a plateau and you're capable of so much more, and you would love it to be busier consistently, or are at a place where you would love to have the practice run without you, but it's just so bogged down by doing so much yourself, then feel free to reach out to us, and happy to see how we can help you. So go to introvertedvisionary.com and book in for a free chat, and look forward to seeing how we can help you grow your practice faster with less stress.